All right, so today we're diving into a universe that needs little introduction, but hey, every deep dive needs a good starting point, right? We're talking Star Wars.
And it's more than just spaceships and lightsabers, though. I gotta admit, those are pretty cool. It's the way Star Wars takes inspiration from real history, myths, even old samurai films that makes it stick with you.
It's true. And for anyone who's just dipping their toes into this galaxy far, far away, we're talking movies, yeah, but also books, comics, video games, the works. But at its heart, it's this epic saga, good versus evil, the Jedi and the Sith, battling it out across the stars.
And can't forget the Force. This mystical energy field binds the galaxy together. But it's not so simple. The Jedi, they're all about peace, using the light side for defense. But the Sith, they tap into the dark side, driven by, well, let's be honest, a hunger for power.
Which is what makes it so interesting. It's not just black and white, right? It's about the choices people make, especially when you're talking about power on a galactic scale.
Exactly. And the story, it mainly revolves around the Skywalker family, starting with Anakin Skywalker. Gifted Jedi, but his journey takes a turn, a dark one.
Yeah, talk about a cautionary tale. And the Skywalker saga, it's told through these 3 movie trilogies. We've got the prequels first, episodes I through 3rd. We see the Republic falling apart, Palpatine making his move. Almost like George Lucas looked at history, all those fallen republics, and said, let's go big galactic scale.
And he's clever about it, mirroring those historical downfalls. Like Palpatine, he manipulates the Trade Federation.
Right.
It kind of reminds you of how economic instability, even in the real world, can really shake things up politically. And that chaos, that's where Anakin Skywalker comes in. This young Jedi carrying the weight of a prophecy, hinting at greatness, but also, you know, a potentially tragic ending.
Like watching a train wreck in slow motion, you know it's going to be bad, but you just can't look away.
And then comes the Clone Wars, a galaxy-wide conflict, all orchestrated by Palpatine to grab more power. Poor Anakin gets pushed further down a dangerous path.
History repeating itself. But like you said, on a galactic scale, this Clone Wars business, it reminds you how easily conflict can warp how people see things, even erode democracies. Scary stuff, even if it's happening a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away.
It sure is. And you see it reflected in the planets, too. Coruscant, this dazzling city-covered planet, it's the heart of the Republic, a stark contrast to, say, the volcanic plains of Mustafar, where Anakin has that final showdown with Obi-Wan Kenobi. That's where he transforms into Darth Vader.
A pivotal moment, for sure.
Yeah, the prequels, they get some hate, but you gotta admit, they're key to understanding why Anakin fell, how the Empire rose. We see a Republic seduced by fear, manipulated by a power-hungry leader. It's a cautionary tale as old as time.
Which leads us to the original trilogy, right? Episodes 3rd through 60s were thrown into a galaxy where the Empire's in control. The Jedi Order, they're practically extinct, just a few survivors in hiding. And then there's Luke Skywalker, no idea about his family history, but destined to follow in his father's footsteps. Hopefully with a happier ending, though, right?
The original trilogy, it's classic hero's journey stuff, heavily inspired by Joseph Campbell. You know. Luke starts as a farm boy and becomes this Jedi master, guided by Obi-Wan Kenobi. It just resonates, don't you think? Self-discovery, facing your fears, choosing between what's right and, well, the dark side.
And that I'm your father scene. Talk about a family reunion. But it's not all Skywalker drama. We've got the Rebel Alliance totally outmatched, fighting for freedom against this oppressive empire. It's inspiring in a way, right? Even against impossible odds, there's still hope.
Exactly. It's more than just blowing up Death Stars. It's about winning hearts and minds, inspiring people to stand up to tyranny. That's something that speaks to people, especially in times like ours.
And in the end, it's a story about redemption. Darth Vader sacrificing himself to save Luke, taking down the Emperor in the process. It's like, even in the darkest hearts, there's still some good left. But the story doesn't end there. The sequel trilogy, episodes the 7th through IX, fast forward a few decades and boom, new threat, the First Order. It's like history's telling us empires fall, something else rises from the ashes.
And as if that wasn't enough, Luke Skywalker's gone missing, vanished. Both sides are searching, which, you know, just adds to the suspense.
Makes you wonder, when we face uncertainty in our own lives, we crave that guidance, that beacon of hope, kind of like everyone's looking for Luke.
It's a common thread, isn't it? The search for leadership. But anyway, into this whole mess steps Rey, a scavenger strong with the Force, and Finn, a stormtrooper who's like, nope, I'm out.
They show us even in systems that seem impossible to escape, people can still choose to question, to break free, to fight for something better.
Especially Finn. Walking away from the First Order like that, it's a powerful statement about conscience. You can be surrounded by propaganda, but ultimately the choice is yours.
And then there's Kylo Ren, Han and Leia's son, seduced by the dark side. Family drama on a galactic scale, am I right?
Oh, absolutely.
Mm.
Kylo Ren, he's fascinating. He's got all this inner conflict, family legacy, thirst for power, but also this yearning for, I don't know, something more. He's like a reflection of those internal struggles we all face, trying to make sense of who we are, where we come from.
It's those struggles that make these characters relatable, even if they are swinging lightsabers and zipping around in starships. Speaking of which, the technology in Star Wars is iconic.
Totally. Lightsabers, for example. They're more than just glowing swords. They're almost mystical.
The closest thing we have in the real world, right, is plasma contained by a magnetic field. And even that's still pretty much science fiction.
Pretty much. It's like Lucas imagined this future where technology is beautiful, elegant, but also incredibly powerful.
And let's not forget about the planets. Tatooine with those two suns setting, which, by the way, totally scientifically possible. Or the forest moon of Endor, home to those cute but deadly Ewoks.
Each planet is practically a character itself, shaping the story.
Yeah.
Take Coruscant, for example. That planet-wide city, it's like this symbol of how power, when it's concentrated in one place, can be seductive, even corrupting.
Makes you think about our own mega cities, right? The good and the bad that come with all that concentrated humanity. But okay, it's not all Skywalker family drama. We've got standalone stories, too. Rogue One, Solo. They give us glimpses into other corners of the Star Wars galaxy.
Rogue One is interesting. It shows ordinary people doing extraordinary things. They risk everything to steal the Death Star plans. It's a good reminder that heroism isn't limited to, chosen ones or whatever.
Anyone can make a difference. And speaking of making a difference, the Star Wars fandom, it's on a whole other level. Conventions, cosplay, you name it.
It shows the power of shared storytelling. Star Wars creates this world that people want to explore, to argue about, to be a part of.
And those arguments can get intense. Remember the whole Han shot first debate? People are passionate about this stuff.
Well, that's because it's immersive. Fans, they don't just watch the movies. They live in this universe. They analyze, they create theories, they debate. Lucas tapped into something special.
It's true. I mean, may the Force be with you. That's practically a universal greeting now.
No kidding. Star Wars, it's influenced how we talk, what we wear, even our dreams of the future.
Yeah.
Remember that whole Star Wars nickname they gave Reagan's Strategic Defense Initiative?
Right. It's like Star Wars blurs the lines between science fiction and what we believe is possible. And it's not just about technology either. Those themes, good versus evil, fighting oppression, making tough choices, that stuff resonates, especially today.
And it keeps evolving. New books, comics, TV shows, it's constantly expanding.
The Force is strong with this franchise. It's finding ways to stay relevant, to connect with new generations. Speaking of which, now that Disney's involved, well, that galaxy far, far away is about to get even bigger.
That's an understatement. It's an interesting time to be a Star Wars fan, that's for sure.
Yeah.
On the one hand, you've got all this potential new stories, new perspectives. But on the other hand,
You're kind of nervous, right? Hoping they don't mess with the magic too much.
it's a delicate balance.
Yeah.
But hey, that's what makes it interesting. And speaking of interesting, one aspect that's sparked a lot of discussion lately is how women are portrayed in the Star Wars universe.
It's true. The original trilogy, groundbreaking for its time, but looking back, maybe not the most progressive when it comes to representing women.
Princess Leia, she's strong, she's a leader. But she also ends up in that classic damsel in distress situation more than once.
And that metal bikini in Return of the Jedi. Yeah, not their best moment.
It's a good reminder that even our favorite stories are products of their time. But to be fair, Star Wars has tried to do better.
Right. Padme Amidala from the prequels. Queen, senator, actively involved in galactic politics.
Definitely a step in the right direction. And recently, especially with Disney, we're seeing more emphasis on strong female characters. Rey, Jyn Erso, Ahsoka Tano. They're not just sidekicks, they drive the story.
Which is awesome to see. Representation matters, right?
Yeah.
It's about showing everyone, especially younger generations, that they can be heroes too.
Exactly, and it just makes the Star Wars universe richer, more interesting.
It shows that the franchise can change, can adapt. Because our understanding of gender roles, the importance of diversity, that's evolved.
It has. And it's not just about women either. It's about making space for more voices, more perspectives, more experiences.
Absolutely. Star Wars, it's about good versus evil, sure. But those concepts, they're not always so simple, are they?
Not at all. Our experiences, our cultures, even the systems we live in, they all shape how we see good and evil. By bringing in more voices, Star Wars can explore those nuances, those gray areas.
It's like taking something that's already amazing and making it even better. And honestly, that's what keeps Star Wars going, right? It keeps surprising us, challenging us. It reminds us how powerful stories can be.
I think so. But we can't forget the tragedy that runs through Star Wars. Loss, sacrifice, betrayal. It adds another layer, a depth of emotion that really gets to you.
For sure. Anakin Skywalker's fall to the dark side, that's a big one. It's a reminder that even people with so much potential can be tempted by power, by fear.
It makes you think, right? Good and evil is not always so clear-cut.
And then there are the deaths of characters like Obi-Wan Kenobi, Yoda, heartbreaking.
It's true.
Yeah.
But it reminds us that life and death, it's a cycle. Everything ends. It's about what we leave behind, our legacy.
And even though it hurts, their deaths, they kind of fuel the fight for freedom, for justice. Like, their sacrifice wasn't for nothing.
Exactly. And those moments of loss, they add realism. Even in a galaxy far, far away, there are consequences. Things matter.
It's like, even with all the spaceships and laser swords, it's the characters that really get to you.
Yeah, the connections you make. That's what makes Star Wars more than just, an escape.
You're invested. Makes you think about your own choices, your own values. Maybe that's why people are still so passionate about it, even after all these years.
It's true. It's more than just movies. It's like this shared experience, something to debate and analyze and, well, even argue about sometimes.
Big arguments about good versus evil, standing up to what's wrong, the importance of hope. And hey, those conversations, those are happening in our world too,
Absolutely. Star Wars, it makes you think. If you were in that galaxy, what would you do? Would you be tempted by the dark side? Or would you stand with the Jedi?
Now, those are some deep thoughts. And, it makes you wonder, if you had a lightsaber, what color would it be? What does that say about you?
Huh. That's what I love about Star Wars. You can ask those big questions, but it's still fun, It's about exploring, not taking yourself too seriously.
So I guess as we wrap things up here, one thing's for sure. The galaxy, far, far away, it's still going strong. It's inspired generations. And something tells me it's not going anywhere anytime soon.
And why should it? It's a story about good versus evil, about hope, about finding the strength to fight for what you believe in. Those ideas, they never get old.
Well said. And with that, may the Force be with you always.